She's been fired. She's not getting a new contract. She's retiring. The Kathleen Kennedy roadshow continues as she comes out to Deadline and says that the recent rumours aren't true. She is never leaving. She's like Kurtzman, hanging on with her fingernails to the Star Wars. Ugh. Welcome to the Tech Impulse podcast, part of the scitrek family.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
Right, we reported a little while ago that insiders were talking to us and they were telling us that Kathleen Kennedy is not negotiating for a new contract, and that contract runs out, we're being told, Q2 of this year. That basically means March, April, May sort of time. We're being told that Disney are very happy with Kathleen Kennedy, even though a lot of Star Wars fans aren't, and that she isn't being fired. She will continue some sort of role within Disney. But then it was widely reported, and this was shared with all the newspapers, right? So this wasn't just us. Everybody reported this, that no, she was actually going to be retiring and it was going to be towards the end of the year. Apparently she told all her friends, and some of those friends told the newspapers. Deadline, though, have now had an interview with Kathleen Kennedy where she comes out and says that that story is bogus. But that there is a succession plan. And that basically means they are planning for her to move on. And she says that there will be an announcement in the coming months or maybe a year. Now, we were actually told exclusively a while ago now that yes, she was going to be moving on. She wasn't negotiating a new contract. Now, that seems to be the story that's actually true. But how do I mean that? She isn't negotiating a new contract because they are negotiating this succession plan. There will be things within her contract that will allow it to sort of be extended until the replacement can be decided upon, and then given time for that the replacement to actually get up to speed, and Kathleen Kennedy will hold whoever that person's hand is throughout that process. There will want to be a continuity. Now that is kind of normal, and when you're talking about these top jobs. Now they will have wanted to have done this quite quietly. They don't mind, and by they I mean Disney and LucasFilm, don't mind us on YouTube talking about it, but as soon as major newspapers started this story that she'd actually was retiring, and also that it was because Disney were basically blaming her for some of the failures of Star Wars in recent years, then she did have to come out and say something, and Disney have to say something. It will affect things like stock price. So they do have to say something. It does seem, though, that at 71 years old, she is finally getting ready to move on, but they are doing it in a strategic, well-planned way. As she mentioned in the interview with Deadline, she has still got jobs she's doing. She's still producing the Mandalorian movie, and there are a couple of other projects she's still heavily involved in. That won't change regardless of whether she's the president of Lucasfilm or not. I'm actually starting to realise that that's probably what my source was trying to explain to me when he said, look, she's still going to have a role within Disney. I have to admit, I assumed they meant like on the board or something, but maybe they just meant that, look, she's a producer for this, this and this, and that isn't going to change. So it does seem that Kathleen Kennedy is going nowhere anytime soon. And basically, we told you that first. So, for once, actually, YouTube got the story right and the major newspapers got it wrong. What am I talking about for once? It happens all the frickin' time. But we try to be very honest on this channel, and we try to give you the information that we get as quickly as we possible and as accurately as we possibly can. But we do deal an awful lot with rumours. We do deal with people within the industry that hear from friends information that's being shared around, in a drink at the bar, over the water cooler. That is the sort of information we do get on this channel, and we've always been pretty good at sharing with you. We know when something's a rumour, we know something's fact. The newspaper in this respect didn't really share it as a rumour, they did kind of share it as fact. And that, I think, is another reason why Disney and Kathleen Kennedy then had to come out and say something about it, because they don't remember to necessarily say that this is coming from a place that might not be 100% accurate. The information we get on this channel tends to be pretty accurate, but we've always got to be careful of things like Chinese whispers. A story can change as it's told through a couple of different people, or it may only be one point of view on that. Also, people within the industry have agendas of their own. We keep getting told Alex Kurtzman's going to be fired, Alex Kurtzman's going to be fired. I get shared that all the time. I get emails constantly from sources that I trust even, saying this is happening, Strange New Worlds is getting cancelled, something else is happening. The story isn't necessarily untrue, but it may just be that people have talked about something happening. It's not necessarily going to. This is something that people really do need to understand when you watch any of these YouTube videos, from my channel in particular, but anybody's really, that are talking to people on the inside production team, things like this. Just because something doesn't quite happen the way we expect it to, doesn't mean that the information isn't accurate. It just means it may be coming from a perspective, or it's half the story, or something else. Or just something that was talked about but never followed through with. In this case, I think the newspapers forgot that, and they just ran with a story that then spread everywhere like wildfire, because it had the legitimacy of being in a major publication. Nowadays, it does seem, though, that a little YouTube channel like the Tachyon Pulse or Scitrek is no less legitimate than the major newspapers. Especially seeing that we got it right and they got it wrong. But guys, get into the comments and tell me what you think. Kathleen Kennedy is going, but it's going to be an organised, planned exit. Nobody at Disney blames her for some of the things a lot of Star Wars fans blame her for. So, again, is that a problem for Star Wars? She is going to be heavily involved in the Mandalorian movie and other things. But the Mandalorian has been good as long as Mr. Favreau is still in charge. And when she leaves, who do you want to see take over? My vote? The Favreau. But who would you like to see taking over the Star Wars presidency of Lucasfilm? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. I have a migraine today, by the way, so if I've tripped over so many of my words, it's because of that, and I've got this white light in my eyes, and it's like, burning my eyes. So, I selected the video there, because I love you guys. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.